get what they have always gotten. Beware of those who said nationality is not important. They are those who conspire to bury the African fathers and mothers of the human family and those who accept their teachings. The one its own tail and crawling on the belly of the world's leading religion, governments, and secret societies. This time, the game is played in a Western part called the United States of America. Bear in mind, the USA is so diversified with nationalities until it has become known as a cultural melting pot. The International and Universal Declaration of the U.S. Constitution make it the ideal part to play this game of nationality royalty. The game out of the park. The game takes place. The game takes place in the midst of a magnanimous global party given by the human family upon their earthbound home. This party is always a gala gathering given in every circle age about 2,000 years and is by invitation only. The heads of every nation are there with their ambassadors, attaches, diplomats, presidents, and spokesmen from every tongue, tribe, and clime. Invitations are the wonderful free national names and numbers. Every nation presented their invite at the door. Our young U.S. host country is only about 2 centuries old. It is stately affair. It is stately affair of the highest order, and every nation, young and ancient, is there to celebrate the age tough of time, touch of time. All seems well. Noble Drew Ali, as our game master and referee said, the citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free national name. This means that every nation of people are known by their name and have a constitutional set of laws which governs, excuse me, which governs and protects the autonomy and free national jurisdiction of that special people. Every nation, example given, Chinese, Egyptian, Turkish, French, etc., are known by their one family name. That family name encompasses their land, flag, language, history, culture, and everything which totals that nation in a single expression. This single expression is called their nationality. In this game of Out of the Pot, one's identity is an express invitation. As vines hold figs to the fig tree, so does nationality, as the only true earthly identity connects all nations in the human family. This is why every person has a nationality and can be made to proclaim it or be subjected to lower classifications by the other citizens. The game master stated, those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatment that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the name and the principles that delude to slavery. Beware of scrape, scraped invitations. No Negro, Black person, African American, etc., has a free national constitution because those names all come from slavery and only sustain an institution of mental slavery. Those are the true slave names, those that have no national substance or strength on the scale of a true national identification. Some people who are of the problem say Hawkins, Smith, Jones, Bell, Jenkins, Addison, etc. are slave names because these were the European names of former slave owners. The truth of the matter is those are family names of free persons as individuals, but are not free national names. Slave names support the identity support and identify slaves. Simple. This is the correct definition of the term slave names. Our game master wrote in Act 6 of his law. They are not Negroes, colored folk, black people, or Ethiopians because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders. Even African American and Afro are some of the marks that were put upon the Moors of Northwest by the European nations from 1779 to 1865 during the time of slavery, time of constitutional enforced slavery. Out of the Pot is a game in honor of a noble warning by the referee. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. What happens to people who do not proclaim their nationality and do not present a valid invitation when ads are demanded by the century registration? The referee said, in all other governments, when a man is born and raised, there are acts for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. To be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name because they place their trust upon issues and names formed by their forefathers. So-called blacks, African Americans this year are not citizens of the United States government or any other free national government and will be proven by out of the pot. Every game rules. Every game has its rule that governs the participant. Out of the pot is no exception because this game is at a party and all players have all that is necessary to have a good time. It can be played without injury in any office, classroom, church, club, living room, or wherever a group of people can gather. Rule number one, the pot. Any country, government, nation, or sovereign power in the world, example given the United States of America, a land and government indigenously held by its citizens. Rule number two, Constitution. All pots must rest upon the constitutional law of its government. It must be a free national constitution, which clearly state the name, principles, status, jurisdiction, and laws of, of government. Rule number three, citizenship. All participants must have a nationality to be a citizen. Rule number four, fire. This is the power to enforce the constitutional laws of a free national government, the power to purge itself from undesirables, aliens, or criminals against that government. The powers to exile, deport, imprison, or execute illegal migrants, squatters, or those who commit treason. In America, the enforcer for the U.S. Interior is the Department of Immigration. and naturalization. The rules are simple and natural. Let's join the party in the cultural melting pot of it. In the USA, we have a culture of invite guests. Among them are Chinese American, Turkish American, Jamaican American, German American, Iranian American, Scottish American, Nigerian American, Italian Americans, Moroccan Americans, Egyptian Americans, etc., etc., etc. All these people from all over the earth who came to the party are citizens because they have invitations to the great party in the park. Now, the party is on. Every citizen is moving in accordance to the constitutional laws of their government. But wait, here are some 1800s genuine Guyana, the Ethiopians, 1900s, Blackamoors, Black Jews, 1920s, 1930s, colored folks, 1940, 1950s, Negroes, 1960s, Black people, 1970, billion, billions, 1970s, Afro Americans, 1980s, Nubians, 1990s, African Americans. The century screen. Somebody has brought scraped invitations to the party. These identities are phony, borrowed, and illegal. These aliens are imposters, merely perpetrating whole persons. Hey, there are these are not true citizens at all. What shall we call them? They were not invited to the party. This party is for the people and by the people. In fact, these others have no invitation, a free national name, a nationality. Did they come to the party or did they come with the party like furniture? Our hosts must call their Congress to light the fire under the pot. It's time to implement the law of the land, enforce Article number 1, Section 8, Clause 3 of the U.S. Constitution. There are some people here enjoying the party without being in their proper person and not by invitation, nationality. This party is for the whole number of free persons, excluding indigenous Indians not taxed. The Department of Immigration and Naturalization will now make a national census check. All citizens out of the pot, their free national name, flag, and land must deport all citizens back to their free national government and constitutional origin. Chinese American return to the land of China, flag and constitution. Turkish American return to the land of Turkey, flag and constitution. Jamaican American return to the land of Jamaica, flag and constitution. German American return to the land of Germany, flag and constitution. Iranian American return to the land of Iran, flag and constitution. Scottish American return to the land of Scotland, flag and constitution. Nigerian American return to the land of Nigeria, flag and constitution. And Italian American return to the land of Italy, flag and constitution. Moroccan American return to the land of Morocco, flag and constitution. Egyptian American return to the land of Egypt, flag and constitution, etc., etc. But wait, what is this burning on the bottom of the pot? What is this smell, this odor of violation? Is this the ruins of a people? They have no flag and no place of heritage from which to return. They, these other people who came with the party and have no nationality. The law is burning hot and being enforced on all nations alike. All in international and divine laws wait, chronologue. All must now proclaim their national descent by name and number. Where can they go to escape the fires of international law and of international and divine law? Surely neither God nor man is pleased with these outlaws. What do what do their scrape invitation read? Negro, colored people, and black folk are spirituous invitations at best. What can be done with them now that slave is no longer needed? The Constitution was not written with slave labors in mind. It is written for citizens of free national principles and governments, more specifically written by free white males for free white males. See U.S. Constitution. It would also be unconditional to eradicate them all under the assigned international anti-genocide agreement. They are a cross between illegal aliens and third-class undesirables. They cannot be exiled into the world while still plagued with mental slavery. They would only be as a leaderless disease, tumor on a body of the state or social misfits. They are not deportable because they did not migrate from any recognized sovereign power. Speaking of those classified as deportees, most European written history books reflect Marcus Messiah Garvey as being a black man who was deported from USA's Atlanta Federal Prison to France. This should raise a federal question. Example, why was Marcus Garvey the only so-called black ever to be deported from the only country in the world that makes black people? Truth be told, Marcus was a Jamaican national and was never a standard black made in America. Are these the same 22 million people for which Erhard Malik El Shabazz Malcolm X filed genocide charges against the United States before the World Court? There it was General Bank who hosted the party named the party turned El Shabazz away. The World Court dropped the charges because Malik claimed genocide of a Negro, genocide of a Negro people. The World Court could not find such a nation attached to the human family tree. In the 1990s, the Hague rejected Minister Louis Farrakhan Muhammad for not being able to nationalize 40 million black people. At last, they too were also non-existent because NBC are not free national names. There is no Negro country, no black land, no African American Constitution sovereignty, no colored flag, and no Afro land to plant one in. Indeed, Minister Malcolm X and Minister Farrakhan, with sincere love for their people and the greatest of intention, had only scraped invitations. But wait, they are citizens according to the 14th Amendment and the 15th Amendment, which gave them the power to vote like all other citizens, right? Wrong. There are no constitutional laws in the USA or any other government on earth that embrace the so-called blacks as first-class citizens without a true nationality. There are no constitutional laws that declare them as citizens. The 13th, 14th, 15th are amendments to the U.S. Constitution that gives conditional granted privileges of colorable citizenry to the children of ex-slaves. These guaranteed privileges give illusions of the rights that are preserved for the true citizen. However, to illustrate the powerful yet profane intent of Freemasonic founding fathers of the United States, Noble Drew Ali bear witness that all true rights of citizens are already guaranteed within the original constitutional body of laws. Therefore, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendment for the ex-slaves or 19th Amendment for women, if indeed they were ever recognized as first-class citizens. Here the reader must be reminded of the history of the U.S. Constitution was written by the by the white male for free white males. Their women and slaves were classified as property unworthy of being free, ancient, and accepted as citizens. And by the spirit of their law, these chattels are still amended outside the constitutional body of power to this day. See Freemasonry. These amendments are known as the three dead badges of the law because they were created to bond a union between the North and South while simultaneously patching the issue of freshly freed slaves to the open wound of civil unrest. What to do with the illiterate million of Africans? It will do well to heed the words of the game master and to inquire what is meant when he said the free U.S. national constitutional law declared all men equal and free. Since that constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendment for the salvation of our people and citizens. There is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc., in their present condition, without nationality or creed, in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world. Islam?
Islam. Dr. Muhammad Bey, try unmuting your mic on your laptop. Leave your phone alone. If you're talking, I can't hear you.
Islam, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Islam, we apologize for the technical difficulties. Islam, that was a grand reading by our National Grand Secretary of State of South Carolina Consulate. The whole purpose of that reading, I know it was a bit long, but it was very, very plain. Very, very plain. If you followed the script that was being read, in other words, it's like being invited to a party and you have an invitation. But there are prerequisites to that invitation. And if you do not meet those prerequisites, then that means you have a false invitation. So in this particular aspect, we're talking about us as a people, the so-called melanated Asiatic people of this particular country and the world, the Asiatics, the Moorish Americans, thinking that we're black, Negro, or colored, or whatever, these not being true nationalities, which means if it's not a true nationality, then you're not a true citizen. Because in order for you to be a citizen of any nation, you have to have a nationality. Your nationality is based upon your ancient descendant bloodline. There is no connection. Where is, like I said, where's black land? You ain't got no answer for that one. Black is the English word. We as a people are hundreds of thousands of years older than English. How about African American? Oh, excuse me. See, that's the latest one. This day and time, we all think that we're African Americans. And I just tried this, I have a job where I got two young brothers, right? I'm a painter, and I just question them, just put the question to them. Well, who do you say you are? Are you black or you African American? One said he was black, one said he was African American. Another one, right? The younger one, at first he said he was Christian. I had to let him know, no, that's your religious connotation. And this is just to show, this is not to speak down, but to show how confused we are. We have an identity crisis. So this coming out of the pot, as the subtitle is, come out of her, my people. What am I saying, family? We have to come out of the mindset, the conditioning, the indoctrination, the institutionalization of thinking that we are something that we are not. The question goes out, okay, what were we, even though we were long living before slavery, but since most of us relate to our beginnings as slavery, what were we before slavery? Has anyone done the research? And I would challenge anyone, especially in my listening audience, to prove that we as a people were black, that we as a people were Negroes, that we as a people were colored, African American, that we were Christians. Not so. Not so, family. Definitely not so. So come out of her, my people. Coming from the Piscean, come out. Come out of that mindset. It's a slave mentality. What does that mean? That means that this mindset is a thought pattern, a cultural system that was forced over a period of 400 to 500 years into the minds of our people. And now, because of this day and time, we actually maintain that so-called mentality. The slave master no longer has to be fearful of us learning how to be our true selves, because we fight one another to maintain the illusion of our true identity. Or at this point, family, that's basically what I had to say. That spoke for itself. Yeah, Islam. I'm bringing my Vice Consul General, Dr. Leroy Lowry Bay, right, to bring in. Okay, that's your phone. Hold on. I'm getting him to. I know y'all hear that feedback. Islam. No, come on, Leroy. I'm going to mute my mic so you can speak. Islam. I'm going to bring forth my Vice Consul General to bring his portion of this presentation, which won't be too long, and we'll open up the floor. Islam, Islam, Islam. Islam. Vice Consul General, Islam. Islam. No. Islam, can you hear him, Sheikh Happy?
I can't hear him.
In, come sit over here. All right, sit right there. There you go. All right. The mic right there. Speak right there. Make sure you can hear you.
Islam, can you hear me, Sheikh Happy Bay?
Islam, I can hear you more, man.
Islam. I'm Dr. Leroy Lowry Bay, Vice Consul General, South Carolina Consulate. I rise and give praise to the great God of Allah, give honor to the Prophet Noble Ali, give honor to our theocratic Moorish American government, I give honor to the officials of our government, give a special honor to the citizens, give special honor to the Baltimore Consulate for hosting this Zoom call. And I give honor to everything Moorish. Islam. And what I have to add, to the class, as far as the subject matter come out of her, I'm gonna have Sister Design Minister Michelle Reeves Bay to read page 30 portion from page 36 of Doom of a Nation. You're available, Goddess? Unmute your mic, Sister Michelle.
Islam. I'm Divine Minister Michelle Rutherford Reeves Bay. First of all, I rise giving highest praise and honors to the great God Allah, and honors to our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and honors to our Moorish American national government, our divine constitution, Act 1, and of course, honors to you Moors here, there, and everywhere. I'm reading from Exhuming of a Nation, page 36, how the Holy Quran defines white and black. The Holy Quran of Muhammad, as well as most books of guidance and law, is explicit with the word usage of white and black. These two words are the apex of expression to the world of dualities. They hold the extreme opposites to the spectrum of hot and cold, high and low, right and wrong, truth and falsehood, consciousness and ignorance, etc. In the Quran, Surah 3:106, it speaks of black face and white face. Yusuf Ali's commentary number 432 reads, the face, wajah, express our personality, our innermost being. White is the color of light. To become white is to be illuminated with light, with felicity in the rays of the glorious light wisdom of Allah. Black is the color of darkness, sin, rebellion, and misery, removed from the grace and light of Allah. There are signs of heaven and hell. A standard of decision in all questions is the justice of Allah. The commentary accurately explains why the word black was applied to the denationalized African descendants. Black denotes them as wretched sinners and without knowledge of self or Allah. Blacks are those out of grace and in a mental state of hell. Their actions result from a black personality and non-productiveness as out of non-productiveness as a people to serving any God placed into their perception. While it is more wrong to be a slave owner than a slave, there is one fact about so-called black people which should not be overlooked, especially in the Holy Quran. The daily recital, interpreting, and understanding of the glorious Quran makes each Muslim a scholar. And while there is no compulsion in Islam, it is mandatory to live the words of this great book. With this Islamic way of life established for all Muslims all over the world, it is safe to state Arabia, Egypt, Morocco, Iran, and all Islamic countries are in full knowledge the making and sustaining of a black people was and is both a sin and a crime. Islam.
Islam, and you can go on to page 536.
Yes, sir. One moment. The page 536. The Almoravid Moors handed the white flag custom down to succeeding dynasties, the Marinids and the Sadians, which signified a platoon of about 100 muftis, Islamic soldiers, scholars. In later years, the banner became a symbol of the state until it created confusion in the ranks of Moors, which were divided by the Arab invasion of Islam. This invasion, under the Ottoman Turkish rule, demanded strict denationalization of all national name descendants and to assume Arabian Islamic nationless genealogy. This led to the 1942 bloody Arab Christian vice war, El Cid, against Moors in Granada, Spain. This brought an end to 800 years of Moorish civilization to South, Central, and Western Europe, hosted by Spain, France, and Italy. The few hundred surviving Moorish POWs were used to begin what is now known as the West African slave trade, complements of the military bond between Arab Muslims King Ferdinand, and Queen Isabella. The Moorish Empire, especially its uppermost northern kingdoms above the Sahara, suffered a magnanimous loss of tribal beys, els, duns, deys, ali, caliphs, sheiks, ambassadors, and other officials at the onslaught of the Catholic Crusades. Morocco's ruling sultans, the Alawites tribe, added the green Suleiman star to the white banner during the reign of Suleiman the Magnificent, Sultan the Lawgiver, 1494 to 1566. The pentagram was flown in commemoration of the African godmen of the Nile, Moors, that had sacrificed their lives for the ancient principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. The green has always represented life, fresh life, and life everlasting, and was later accepted by the Prophet Muhammad as the color of Islam. Meanwhile, Suleiman, to the dislike of most Arabs, used the star to remember those of his nationals, while in advancing the land of infidels whose spirits went to Allah, inherent souls to the hereafter, and bodies would never indigenously return. Through the royal line of the Alawites came the ancestors of His Majesty King Hassan I and II, who decreed the banner from white to the Moorish to the Moroccan red.
That'll be it, sis. That'd be it, sis.
Okay.
Yes,
Gratitude is
gratitude. The reason why I had to read that in relation to the title and when they say it come out of her, we know Christianity and Arabian Islam was also part of our enslavement, being part of denationalization. And Prophet Muhammad, when he came to the Arab nations, he translated the Arabic, the Medu Neter or the Egyptian language into the Arabic language. His special people that he brought to, was sent to, that's the language they spoke, you know. And but he was taught the ancient Comedian teaching, Islamism, as all of the prophets that came out of Kemet. And when Sister Breed by black and white, we know black is not a nationality or a race. And the word white in the prophet defines in the questionnaire, white means purity, purity means God, and God means ruler of the land. So when the Europeans came in and conquered our land, they took the title white and applied to themselves, because they know white means purity, and they became called themselves God because they control the land. In the questionnaire, the prophet asked what name Satan give himself, God. So they called themselves God. Now they became ruler of the land, and they brought in, you know, again that Ottoman Turkish Empire brought in that Arabian Islam, being another form of this nationalization. See, and you know, in 1403, Kemet made Morocco capital dominion of Africa, and they was given the white banner with a green 5-pointed star, and was planted in the soil of Morocco. And in between, you know, 1403 and 1492, as since we're reading, you know, that's when the Moors lost their stronghold, 800-year stronghold in Morocco, and in Spain, and they was rounded up, you know, by the order of King Ferdinand and Isabella, and what became the start of, you know, West African slave trade, you know, which was starting September 1st, 1501, when a cargo of Portuguese cargo had a cargo of enslaved Africans taken to the Spanish island, Hispaniola, before they went across the Atlantic, and that's where they were Christianized at. And they arrived there in April of 1502, and April 2002 was the anniversary, 500-year anniversary of this special event. And to this day, our people still practice these different religions, Christianity, which is Western Freemasonry in the church, and Arabian Islam, and and those in Morocco at the time, all the Turkish empire came in and with Arabian Islam, those who didn't accept it, those who did accept it, they was given titles as caliph, a sultan ruler, and those that bucked against it, they was slandered, tortured, even some of them taken off the camp, and so as I said earlier, Prophet Muhammad, he brought Islamism, Ain's committee and teaching, because when he came to them Arabs, they was enslaving their own mother and fathers, and when he left the flesh, they went back doing the same thing, enslaving their own people, and the chairman always tell you to create their own form of Islam called it Islamism. Their version of Islam wasn't really true Islam that came out of Egypt or taught by Prophet Muhammad. And also this information, Zuma of Nation, Grand study guy also made me realize the conflict it was between Elijah Muhammad, and Malcolm X, because Elijah Muhammad came underneath Prophet Noble Ali, being taught Islamism, and when Malcolm went to the east over there, and he went seeing lighter Arabs practicing raising Islam, that's where the conflict came, between the two there. And why been the conflict with Elijah Muhammad? Because again, he had the teaching of Prophet Noble Ali, and when they started Nation Islam, Master Prophet Muhammad, there was pictures of Prophet Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad having the red fez on, and because they had a conflict with certain Moors back then, took his followers out the fez, and they started wearing the kufi. But he had the teachings of Prophet Noble Ali, you see, as well as Marcus Garvey, who was the harbinger of the Prophet. And so, and we go further down, and more Science Temple today, you had the same thing. You had the Masons, or so-called Masons, that infiltrated the Prophet movement, getting rid of his constitution and bringing, the rules of Grand Moderator, and got rid of everything that the Prophet brought as far as freeing his people, and to what the Prophet said 50 years from now, that you wouldn't know he'd been here, his movement went down so low. But when he went to the Pan American Conference around in Cuba in 1928, he went putting his people on the map as a Moorish American nation, and he received a mandate tied to the land at the Pan American Conference. And when he came back, that's when he registered his movement in Cook County, Chicago, in 1928. Moorish Science Temple American Incorporated, but he had no intention of staying an organization, because he said the year 2000, Moors was coming to their own, and third and fourth generation should have good up his work. So here we on the manifest in this era of time, Moorish American government, at the UN, have our own flag, seal, constitution, one free national name, linking ourselves back to the human families of the nation. So the call is now to come out of her, old Babylon, this last empire, the beast, has fallen, you see, and so our people, the truth is here now. The Prophet bought it, and it's being taught here to our Moorish American government. It's coming in this era of time, and we are in the highways and byways, trying to reach our people, because the Bible says he gonna drop a ball down on Babylon, and those who get in the way of his holy divine movement would crush the power. You see, so this is it. This is our salvation, our freedom. For those who listening out on Facebook, find your way home to your Moorish American government. Again, Black, not a nationality. African American, not a nationality. Those are the names that was given to slaves by slave holders in 1779 to 1865 during the time of slavery. You know, with the prophet let us know, Act 6 of the divine constitution, you know, Negro, black, colored, African American is on the birth certificate, you see. And the birth certificate proves that slavery still exists here in the United States, in the several states, you see. Even on your driver's license, marriage certificate, birth certificate, social security card, everything links to this corporation, you see. So there's no freedom out of another man's law. And if you think that you have a right to vote, look again, because they've been marching since the 60s for voting rights, and they're still doing the same thing nowadays. So we sit here and probably should offend and warn you. So we warning you that's out there on Facebook, come out of her, come to your own government and live unmolested under your own laws. So with that, I say Islam, peace, and gratitude.
Islam, Islam, Islam. Can you hear me, Sheikh Ashby?
I can hear you, Mo man.
Islam, Islam. So family, you know, just a few little comments. Come out of her. This is the day and time for those listening. I want you to hear. I want you to listen with your heart. You are not a Negro. Oh, we're going to skip past that. Because basically, what most of us identify ourselves as is either black or African American. So I want you to do your research. I want you to do your research and see if you can trace the word black. It's just a word. But you know that word black, according to law and according to science, it means death. Anything that is black is devoid of life and color. Devoid of life and color. So that means when I say that I'm black, that means I'm dead. Dead in the head. If I say that I'm African American, Africa is not a nation, family. Africa is a continent with 56 different nations that reside within inside of it. So either one of those titles, those labels, it's a false identification. And the powers that be, they know that. They know that that's a false identification. And under that, it creates what's called a status. Under that status is a classification, being black and African American. It puts you under a body of law called jurisdiction. The jurisdiction places you as property, not as a human being, but as property. Property is owned, it's governed, it's overseen, overridden by the property owner. So, in that being said, now I will open up the floor. Islam, Sheikh Ashley Bey, bring the question on the floor, open the floor up to Act 1, you know, because I know they have things they have to do, and then we're going to open up the floor right to our Morris Ken for their comments or their questions or whatever, and we'll go to that up to a certain point, and then we'll go over the words. Islam, Islam, Islam.
Islam,
Islam.
Islam, you want to go ahead and do the words first?
Islam, Islam. 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 Islam family, we're going to come forth with our word to study. And if I can, I'd like to give you, in view of the time, I'd like to get our words of study are, excuse me, if I have my paper here. Oh, man. Institutional indoctrination, status, jurisdiction, civility mortis, colorable citizenship, and emancipation proclamation. Islam.
Just for the sake of time, take one person more, one more, and then give your definition.
Okay, Islam. Can I get one more to come forward and give me their definition of the first word, institutional? Islam.
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 Islam, Diane Carter Bay, honors has already been given. For institutional, I had that's relating to a large organization such as a university, bank, or church. Islam?
Islam, Islam, Islam. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude for that for that definition. And I had a similar, right? In terms, institutional deals with the government, the economy, the education, right? It's also dealing with a chronic biopsychological social institution, Islam. Next word.
Islam, man. I just want to add something to that. The Sheikh Ashby Bey, the Maryland consulate, already risen. That's a tricky word because how they have indoctrinated us to think about institution and institutional is that it's a building, but it's actually an ingrained philosophy that is ingrained in every part of a society, whether you at school, work, the bank, the supermarket, the amusement park. Institutionalism is ingrained in all of those, especially in the USA. Islam?
Islam, and gratitude for that, grand man, because the root of the word institutional is institute, right? So when we talk about this word institute, we're talking about a state of being. It's an act, it's an action. Like you said, the illusion comes where, people think that we're just talking about a building or something of that nature, like a church or something like that. But see, we understand that buildings do not do anything. It's what goes on inside of those buildings, the formation and the organization of whatever the principles are, the standards are that are put in. Islam and gratitude. Moving on to our next word. Can I get one more for the next word? Indoctrination. Islam, family. Indoctrination.
Islam.
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 Islam. Let the guys go forth and then you can come forth, brother. Islam.
Islam. This is Divine Minister Teresa Reed Bay. First, let me rise and give praise to the great God Allah, give honors to our holy prophet, give honors to our divine constitution and bylaws, give honors to all of you on the line this evening. For indoctrination, I have the process of teaching a person or group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. Islam.
Islam. Gratitude for that grand definition. And the brother that stood down.
Islam. I'll wait for the next word.
Okay, Islam. Okay, what I have for indoctrination is to have the principles and standards of an outside or foreign source deceivingly or forcefully put into the minds of a person or a whole nation of people. Indoctrination. Islam. Moving on to the next word.
Islam, General. Can I add something to that?
Oh, definitely.
Sheikh Ashby Bey, rise in all ways to praise Allah and honor the Prophet. See, indoctrination is another form of that game that they play called semantics. See, because the definition that I have is the process of teaching a person or group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. Now, if it was just a process of teaching, then they could just simply say teaching. But it's a negative connotation to that word. It is actually a violation that's happening when you indoctrinate somebody. Like you go into the military, they indoctrinate you. If you are of the warrior class, they indoctrinate you to kill people that have not done anything to you. So yeah, that indoctrination is a violation. That's not anything that is a good thing. Islam,
and that's very key, grand man, because in the word itself, you have in and the word doctrination. So the doctrination, as we know, praise be to Allah for our beloved prophet, who brought us the highest understanding. See, when we talk about indoctrination, we talk about someone putting into our minds a way of thinking. And we know that everything begins with the thought. So from that indoctrination comes the reasoning, the understanding, the will, and the remembrance. So that's very key, because if the indoctrination is not truth, based upon truth, right, then as you said, right, you have no way of distinguishing between truth and falsehood, and you're being led astray. You're being controlled from the outside. Islam. Moving on to the next word, the word, can I get one more to come forth with the word, definition of the word status? Islam.
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 Student minister, Shamor Garfield from the Maryland Consulate. I rise and give praise to Allah. Honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Honors to the Moorish Americans, everything of the Moorish Americans, and the future of the Moorish Americans, and all our ancestors. Status: the relative, social, professional, or other standing of someone or something. Islam.
Islam, Islam, Islam. Very, very powerful, brother. Very, very powerful. Islam, Islam. Well, status. I'm just going to come from, the book of Fire. And it says status is simple, proper and precise identification, one's legal position or rank and in relation to others, lawful or national prestige. Status is neither temporary in its nature nor terminable at the mere will of the parties. All that constitutes the subject into a correct identity. Status is being in your correct identity. Islam. Moving on to the next word. The word is jurisdiction. Can I get one more to come forth with the word jurisdiction? Islam.
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 Islam, dying Bay honors has already been given for jurisdiction. I have that's the official power to make legal decisions and judgments. Islam.
Islam, 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 Islam. Jurisdiction. The power to duly constitute court with control over the parties and subject matters before it. It defines the powers of the courts to inquire into facts, apply the law, make decisions, declare judgment. Jurisdiction exists when court has cognizance of class of cases involved. The proper parties are present, correctly identified, dealing with that status, and point to be decided within the powers of the court. Jurisdiction is simply the power and the authority of a court to hear and determine a judicial proceeding. Classification. Islam. Moving on to the next word, and I love this part right here. Our fifth word, civiliter mortus. Can I get one more to come forth with the definition of the word civiliter mortus? Islam. The floor is open.
Islam?
Islam. Come on, brother, give it up.
Islam, grand man. Islam,
Yes,
Islamism. I am Terrell Freeman L, Deputy Consul General of Maryland Consulate, Baltimore Territory. I rise and give highest praise to the great God, Allah, Father of the universe. Highest honors to his prophet, our prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Highest honors to our Moorish American theocratic government, and everything that is Moorish. High honors to the host of this grand class from our South Carolina Consulate, our Consul General and Vice Consul General. Just keep doing a grand demonstration here. Islam. For civiliter mortus, I have, this is from Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. Civiliter mortus, civilly dead in the view of the law, the condition of one who has lost his civil rights and capacities and is accounted dead in the law. Razor verse, Razor, 173 South Carolina, and examples given as you have in this grand class, you and the co-hosts and all the consulate members, African American, Negro, colored, and many of the misnomers and war names that they have applied to our people, our ancestors, that the Moorish American, all praise be to Allah's prophet, Noble Drew Ali, has freed us from. Islam.
Islam, Islam, for that grand definition. Yes, yes. Civiliter mortus means basically to be dead in the head. Islam. Was that our National Grand Secretary? Did you want to come forth, Islam?
Islam, just for the next word, more gratitude.
All right, Islam. Moving on to the next word, colorable citizenship. Islam, National Grand Secretary of the State. Come forth and reign upon us, Islam.
Islam, gratitude, Consul General, South Carolina Consulate. First of all, I want to rise, giving all praises to Allah. Honor to our Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, the last prophet in these days and times. Giving honor to our Maryland Consulate for providing the forum for our class, and to all of our Moorish kin that are in our class this evening. For colorable citizens, I had anything colorable is dealing with being in the semblance of a legal right, the appearance of, it is intended to deceive, and also seemingly valid. Islam?
Islam. Gratitude for that grand definition. Definitely. A tainted identity. You know, as the prophet teaches us in the questionnaire, anything that's colored is tainted, meaning it's not in its original self. It's been altered. Islam. Gratitude. And moving on to our seventh word, but seventh and final, well, actually, it's a phrase, right? And that is Emancipation Proclamation. Can I get one more to come forth? Islam. Come on, brother.
Islam. Gratitude. Come on, man. 1 second. Emancipation Proclamation. Proclamation 95 was a presidential proclamation, an executive order issued by the United States President Abraham Lincoln on September 22nd, 1862, during the Civil War. The proclamation basically read that all slaves held in the states of rebellion against the United States were to be free as of January 1st, 1863. Now, it's ironic that in this proclamation, it was used the word states in rebellion, but before they were in rebellion, they seceded. So Lincoln actually had no jurisdiction over the people who were held in bondage in those particular states, because they weren't part of the United States anymore, and it was basically a ploy to get slaves to run away and join the Union Army. That's really all it was. It wasn't worth the paper that it was written on. It really didn't mean anything. It was colorful, and that word colorable is very important, because it's like colorable is like your shadow. Your shadow is there until you turn around and it disappears. So is it really there? And that's the same thing with these games that they have played with these proclamations and dead badges of law. Islam
for that grand measure, grand man, and definitely, yeah. The Emancipation Proclamation, originally instituted September 22nd, 1862, by Abraham Lincoln, which was actually an illegal, unlawful procedure. Why? Because only Congress can enact a law. But it was a war measure, as you stated, brother. It was a measure to ensure the victory of the Union, right, over the Confederacy during the law. Because actually during that time, right, there were still many of our Asiatic brothers and sisters that were still in slavery up north. You see? So many of our people are not aware of that, you see? So, and then when you stop and think about it, okay, now we talking about 1862, 1863, but the 13th Amendment, wait a minute now, so emancipation, right, gives the illusion that the slaves were freed, right, through the Emancipation Proclamation. But then they came forth with the 13th Amendment in 1865. Oh my goodness, something's wrong with that picture. Something's really wrong with that picture. But you know, as our beloved prophet said, right? See, if we can just start thinking The prophet said if he could just get us to thinking, we'll free ourselves. We'll free ourselves from the miseducation that we have received under our ex-slave holders. Family in the listening audience, I want you to think about this. If a people, a nation, will not treat you right, what makes you think they will teach you right? Definitely not. They're not going to give you the knowledge and the understanding to bring about a power where you will no longer be under their jurisdiction. They've never been without their slaves. They've never been without their so-called public servants. And I use this off and on. Everywhere you go in this country, I don't care what kind of establishment you go into, who are the people, the majority of the people working in those establishments? It's us. So we are the foundational energy behind this industry. But what do we have? What do we have as a people? Because we are property. They are using us. They are using you, family. And it's time for you to come out of her. Come out of her, my people. Come unto your Moorish American government. Your Moorish American government. Where you have your own status and jurisdiction. Where you have your own governmental officials. Where you have your own Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem, Grand National Flag. Where you have your own 12-step ladder and crown jewels. In other words, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, get to know that name. Do the research on that name. He was born in North Carolina, January 8th, 1886. Do the research, family. He was sent to us here in North America to save us from the state of mind that we have been put under. The indoctrination, the institutional doctrination. He brought the methodology to get us beyond that veil, because it's a veil that blinds us to the truth and the reality of who and what we are and what our purpose is. So that being said, I will end it there, family. And Islam, I will open up the Islam. She got something you want to add?
Islam, Jim. Before we open the floor, I just want to the officials, I just want to say that, when they talk about this Emancipation Proclamation, it says that it's an executive order issued by the United States President Abraham Lincoln. Once again, that's a play with words, because at the time that he issued that proclamation, he was not the president, he was the commander in chief. They was the USA was in war with the 7 seceded states. So he was the commander in chief. He could actually do that because all the Constitution, Congress, all of that is suspended when there's a what's it called, state of emergency, and also martial law. So he has all rights and privileges and powers. That U.S. president, when those things are enacted, he is the commander in chief. So it wasn't that he was doing anything wrong. It's just that it didn't mean anything. It didn't mean it had no weight. Islam,
and gratitude for that measure, Grand Man. So now we will take this forth and open up the floor, and we want to open up the floor first to our official. Can you take it?
I got you. I got it from here, Mo. Gratitude, grand measure. So we're gonna open up the floor to the officials, and the question on the floor is, what is meant by "come out of her, my people"? So we're gonna go first to our national grand chairman. We affectionately call him the Grand Man. You there, Grand Man?
Islam. You really praise and honor for do. When you say that question again, what it means to come out, say it again. Come out of something.
Islam. What is meant by "come out of her, my people"?
Oh, leave the USA and come to Moorish America. Proclaim your nationality for the government which you can live. Islam.
It's that simple, isn't it, Chad?
Islam.
It's Islam, grand measure. Yeah, guess what? Sometimes it's just that simple. You know,
Islam tell the truth.
it don't. If somebody treat you bad for 530 years, it's time to go. It's time to get out of there. You know, Islam, Chairman, and gratitude for all that you do for Moorish America, all that you have done. You know, and honors to that chapter that was read, that first chapter from Exhuming the Nation, because it laid it out to where not even a fool could argue. You know, so just high honors to you for that work that you put down, Chairman. So next we'll go to our National Grand Secretary of State, Dr. Hatshepsut Tutankhamun Bey. Islam.
Islam Moorish Ken, first of all, I want to rise, giving all praises to our Father God Allah, and giving honor to our Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, the last prophet in these days and times. Again, giving much honor to our Maryland consulate for providing the forum and all the work that they do, all of our consulates online. Also to our South Carolina consulate, our consulate general, Dr. Gerald Muhammad Bey, for Grand Measure Vice Consul General, Dr. Leroy Lowry Bey. Grand class, we're looking at the perils of institutional indoctrination, getting beyond the veil. Part 3, come out of her, my people. What is meant by come out of her, my people? Just briefly, Moors, this is very key for our understanding the plight. And the prophet let us know that he had the key and the answer to the Negro problem. And this is what was being discussed today when and much gratitude to all of my Moorish kin for bringing forth their definitions, because indoctrination is just what it says. It's actually a form of brainwashing. Anytime you strip a people of their nationality and their divine creed, which is their pathway back to the Creator, then that is a violation against the human family. So when that is done, that leaves a people stateless, which means that they are open to and subject to all of the abuses that the so-called citizens care to bestow upon them. And this is what is occurring today. So we look at it from the aspect of when we're saying anything that is in peril, that means that it is in a dangerous situation, that one's lives are in jeopardy. This is a critical degree that we are dealing with each and every day. You can't even cut on the news, listen to the radio without the number count constantly going up as far as how many people have been killed of hue out in the streets, you know, whether it be on video camera or not. The thing about it is we have got to take responsibility. We have recognized the fact that as long as you are clinging to these misnomers, these were not names given to us by our Creator. So in essence, that makes us a man-made entity, which means property 3/5 of all other persons. And once you hook yourself up with your one free national name, with your theocratic government, with your true nationality and divine creed, then all of these blessings will come to you, as our Vice Consul General stated of Maryland. If you constantly having someone mistreat you, why are you constantly running behind that? If not that we as a people are suffering from that state of mental slavery, which the prophet said this was the condition that we had now. But he also put the call out for all strong young men and women. Now, we're not speaking about young in age, we're speaking about young from the aspect of being able to have an open mind and open heart, being able to think. And this is what also was taken away from one when you're dealing with indoctrination, that you are taught not to think, not to question. So therefore, that veil is in essence us being detached not only away from the human family of nations, but in essence from our Creator, our source of strength. So this is a grand measure. In essence, the chairman said it most plainly: come out of what you know means you know good, and come into your own. So gratitude more for calling me forth. Much peace and love to all of my Moorish kin.
Islam, and gratitude and honor to you National Grand Secretary of State, for that grand measure, and also all the work that you do for Moorish America and our government. It's it's amazing, because if any of us who are Moors in America, the so-called Negro, blacks, and colors, and African Americans that they labeled us, if we would just be honest, wherever we go, to the bank, to school, to the amusement park, to the beach, we don't feel comfortable. We don't, you in the bank and you got money in the bank, but you don't really feel comfortable, because it's something not seen. That's that institutionalism. It's something that's not seen that permeates everywhere. Being Negro, black, colored, African American in the USA is like being invited to a swim party and you can't go in the pool. Everybody else in the pool enjoying themselves is 95 degrees. All you can do is stand and sit in a chair or play volleyball, but you can't get in the water. That's how it is in the USA for our people. And I just, for the life of me, indoctrination, all of that, at some point, something should click for our people. Islam. So grand measure, National Grand Secretary of State. Islam, man.
Islam, I just want to add something to what you said about that pool of the water, right? And like you say, standing. And if for whatever reason we jump in the water, everybody that's in the pool is going to jump out.
Oh man.
Islam.
And guess what? They'll never go back to that pool again. They'll build another pool before they go back there. More grand measure. So at this time, we're gonna call on our national national assistant Grand Sheikh, Dr. Shabazz El Islam. If you're talking more, I can't. I see you unmuted.
Okay, Islam.
Islam, I got you.
Okay, gratitude, grand man. Islam. But let us rise upon the seventh and give all praises to the great God, Allah, our Father God, Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El Hajj, Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish king once again, here, there, and everywhere. And therefore, honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our grand national seal. We give honors to our grand national emblem. We give honors to our national flag, divine constitution, and bylaws. And honors to all of you who are a living manifestation and personification of everything. And I do mean everything that our holy prophet brought to make us a nation. Islam, we give honors for this grand measure brought forth again from our Father's treasures, endless treasures and blessings from the lessons that we receive. Our beloved brother, Consul General Jerry Hamid Muhammad Bey, the South Carolina Consulate, Brother Lowry Bey, Leroy Lowry Bey, Vice Consul General Sister Michelle Reeves Bey. Man, we're going to have to get that sister there to do some readings, like the whole Moorish Holy Quran, and put that demonstration on the audio format. She do it so well. Exhuming of a nation, all that. Praise be to Allah. And also honors to the Baltimore Consulate for hosting this grand measure as well. In regards to dealing with indoctrination, of a nation, I couldn't help but think about somebody inoculating, a nation with a foreign doctrine, you see? And this is basically what happened. And the key is when they indoctrinate it, this thing has become so much rooted within our people to where it seems like it's almost hard to get up out of it. By default, they think NBC thoughts. You know, this is just natural for them to think that whatever Rome say, you know, it's the law. Whatever Rome say, you know, it got some type of power behind it. I don't know why in the world. And they can be beating them down now, shooting them in the public and everything. And they just love to suffer. So that's what it is. If you don't want to come out of slavery and come into your own government, you are pain free. And that ain't a good thing to be, you know, because we as a people have suffered due to our own ignorance. And every divine one, or teacher, or prophet that has ever come amongst our people, we mostly crucify. Don't be worried about what Rome did our people, you know, and they do it by trying to kill the message that was brought by the prophet. They want to kill Prophet Noble Drew Ali message. You got people that don't even know nothing about Moorish America. They hear Moorish America. And ignorant as they can be when it comes to dealing with what's really going on. And they think they can be African descendants of slavery. You know, they think they can vote their way, you know, into some type of liberation. They think that they can create a new religious corporation every 6-7 months, you know, or every year. And oh, this is the new one right here. You know, and meanwhile, the only thing that changed is they done got a little more savvy about the way they make the egg crates. But it's still an egg crate. I don't care how much you think they done made something different than what it is. And so the key is that, again, man, the worst is on the manifest. We ain't got to say the worst is yet to come. The worst is here. You know, all you got to do is look around. And so instead of being, we seen it yesterday in some of the things we were showing our family. Instead of being leaders of a nation, our people would like to masquerade, so to speak, as if they are a nation. They don't want to be for real. They want to imitate what it looked like to be a nation and call that a nation and just eat, drink, and be merry. And this is why your host, even in the Piscean record, he turned over the tables, you know, because he was dealing with fools back during that time. So, like, that's why Prophet Noble Drew Ali said the same spirit. In other words, those who were against me 2,000 years ago are against me today. So the same ones that run around talking about, oh, Jesus, and we worship the prophet and all this stuff they shouldn't be doing. They talking about they honor the prophet. If one manifests on the manifest right now, they'll do the same thing that they demonstrated with Prophet Noble Drew Ali over 100 years ago. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing. So somebody got to ask the question, when do we get tired? When do we get enough? You know, when do we think enough is enough? Never again. I don't want to suffer no more. I ain't never seen nobody in the chairman can bear witness to this here. If you done been in any situation of being persecuted under Rome, your last thought of your mind is going back in that same situation, stirring in some dawn. No, we don't do that. Free people don't think like slaves. You see, and you can't enslave a God. You can enslave a Negro, though. You can make him your property, and you can make him pay rent to him while you get money out of his yes. Goodness gracious. Boy, that's a terrible cycle. You know, so it's a grand thing to be here in our Moorish American government and be free as a people. Because we love our people. And when we say we love them to death, that's literal, because that's what they doing, dying as a result of a lack of knowledge. And it ain't because the knowledge itself ain't on the manifest. It's because they chose to reject the knowledge. And you know, like the script say, since you have rejected knowledge, I will reject you and your seed after you. So inadvertently, you are condemning the babies to the same mistreatment and punishment, you know, that every other nation had already cared to bestow upon us. And that's what we are, like the punching bag of the nations, basically. So I just say gratitude more. It's a poor animal that can't cure itself. Islam. We love it. Islam.
Grand Measure Sheik, gratitude and honors for all that you do for your government and our nation. Just high honors to you. You know, I was thinking about when you was talking about how we at the bottom of the barrel here, our people, but the world is still watching our people. You know, now you got people, you got our people throughout the world that have nationalities and calling themselves black now. You know, and it's because they listen to us. That's why they call us the sleeping giant. You know, so we just gotta have a louder voice than our brothers and sisters that are asleep. You know, and let the world know who we really are. You know, but though our brothers and sisters over on the continent, which is called Africa, boy, they get ready to start singing James Brown. I'm black and I'm proud. They pushing that black thing so hard. You know, but they don't. What they don't understand is it don't mean the same thing where they are as here in this jurisdiction. You know, so but if they keep doing it, it could turn into the same thing. You know, so yeah, just a grand measure, Sheik, for all that you do. Gratitude.
Brother Ashby Bay,
Go
I'll
ahead.
say this right here. It ain't hard to see that black is a condition, not a nationality. You're dead in the head.
They got nationalities and they trying to give it up. Man, boy. That's why the prophet said he'd be surprised if a more would do right. You know, Islam. We're gonna go to our next official, and that is our National Grand Secretary of Moorish America, Dr. Aseta Moon El. Islam. She may be on her father's work. Islam. She's probably about being about her father's work. I'm gonna go to the next official, which is my Grand Secretary of State, Dr. Sharon Khadija Bey. Islam.
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 Minister Shankar. Islam. Minister Shankar DJ Bay, rise, giving praise to God Allah, honors to his prophet, honors where honors due, honors to divine guidance, honors to Act One, honors to today's meeting, most important, honors to our citizens. It was as always, enlightening and a grand class. And give honors to the South Carolina consulate for, bringing forth what is much needed and thought activity to think about the question on the floor come out of her. And as everyone was speaking, my mind was focusing on the mental. It's still, we know we could see physical slavery, but that mental slavery is, to me, is far worse, because mentally we're still shackled. Mentally, we're still having the mindset of NBC, and to come out of her is to give everything back. Give back to wrong what is wrong, and come under your own. And I used to always say, when I first heard this truth, why don't our people want this? And throughout the years, I still don't get a concrete answer, because it's up to the individual to seek out the truth. So, we just got to stay fast. And we know that where we are is the right place. The Moorish American government is the right place, because we do have everything that we need. Like the prophet said, now we just got to take it and save ourselves. So, it's up to us to keep on doing what we're doing, and, staying on the front line and keep taking this message wherever we go, workplace, highways and byways. So we just got to stand fast and know that we are doing what we're supposed to do, as the prophet said. And he also said, all of us won't be saved. Family members, friends, if they don't come under their own and recognize whom's they are, they won't be saved. So we have to just, like I said, keep doing what we're doing. Islam and peace. Thank you for letting me share.
Islam and gratitude, Dr. Sharon Khadija Bey, for that grand measure. and all that you, do and have done for your nation and your government tirelessly. High honors to you for that. And also my Council General, Dr. Malik L. Bey, is on a mission, but he's still being about his father's work. So I just want to give him honors before we open the floor. So we're going to open the floor now, Moss. And the question on the floor, what is meant by come out of her, my people? Question on the floor, what is meant by come out of her, my people? We got Dr. Tory Simpson Bey hand up. Islam.
Islam Morris Ken. Let us rise and give praise to our Father God Allah. Honors to our Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Honors to our Moorish American government, our Grand National flag, emblem, and seal. And honors to the Maryland Consulate for hosting this grand demonstration brought forth by our South Carolina Consulate, Islam. Well, I could definitely say, come up out of her. When we talk about come up out of her, we definitely have to go and examine what our prophet, actually take heed of what our prophet brought to us, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. He said, return to church and Christianity. And when we talk about Christianity, we definitely have to also bring in place that word of colonialism. The form of, I would say imperialism, and it's pretty much the control over, bringing forth their demonstration, their spiritual, their religious dogma to have control over economic and political gain over a certain people, you see. So colonialism has been the movement of the European. So when we tell our people to come up out of her, we have to consider what does that mean? And that means that everything that is not, you're not able to be your natural self. Because black, like our sister Grand Sheik said, it's a condition. But yet all around us, we have nations of people that come here to our land, Northwest and Southwest of Mexico, also known as America. They come here, Japanese, Chinese, Korean, all nationalities, and they have their own divine creed and their own government. But yet the black people don't have anything, don't have any saving, don't have a saving power. So when we look at the condition of our people, we know that we have been there before. So we don't talk down on our people. It is the love that we have for our people and why we're here today to express, the one free national name as a Moorish American national. So, with that being said, and in closing, Christianity is definitely not a saving power for our people. The United States of America is definitely not a saving power for our people because that is for their people, and they show our people every day that Black lives do not matter. So with that being said, peace, love, and law at all costs. Long live Moorish America. Islam.
Gratitude for that grand measure, Council General Simpson Bey, and honors for the work that you're doing in the Georgia Consulate, man. Got Freeman L's hand up. Deputy Council General Freeman L.
Islam. Gratitude, Vice Consul General of the Maryland Consulate, my good brother. I am Terrell Freeman L, Deputy Council General of the Maryland Consulate. Praise and honor is already given. But I want to give praise again to the great God Allah and honors to his prophet, our prophet Noble Drew Ali. Honors to Act 1 of our Moorish American theocratic government, and high honors to the hosts of this class, the entire South Carolina Consulate. They've had a busy day doing what they do best as Moorish Americans, and that is being about their Father's work, each and every one of them. Gratitude to you all. And just an amazing class. To answer the question on the floor, I had to use something I learned upon joining the Moorish American government from our from our National Secretary of the State, the T-square. Had to pull out that T-square because to come out of her brought so many things to mind. I said, well, let me just try to provide a parallel for myself because it's clear, but we want to share this clarity with our Moorish kin here, there, and everywhere. So, yeah, come out of her. We could, I definitely concur with our Secretary of the State of Maryland, because the first thing I have on the left side of my list is mental slavery. Mental slavery is what we have to come out of Babylon. The whole spell, if you will. All the traditions, all the bondage. And again, we can join together in this lesson, my Christian kin. Some of our best Moors, brethren and sisters, are in the church. Our prophet already prepared us. So let's stay together now. Because our national chairman then gave the answer, because it's simple. On the other side of mental slavery, you have your Moorish American government, your Moorish American theocratic government, where again, we teach our people, our divine creed, and our nationality. That's what's on the other side of this mental slavery. But see, we have to really, really look at this package deal that we have going on here, because further down the list, we have on the other side, we have miseducation, misnomers, mistaken for everything but a child of Allah. So that definitely includes the 13th Amendment, 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment. That includes those slave labels, those brands.
You froze up, Mo.
I don't think he realizes it.
Yeah, Islam. We're gonna move on, and we'll come back to the moment. Dr. Thomas Bay, did you have your hand up?
Praise Allah. Praise Allah. Gratitude. Council General Illinois. First of all, I rise giving all praise to my Father God Allah. All love and respect to my prophet, my God, officials and citizens. Praise Allah. Praise Allah. Praise Allah. For the Baltimore Council, praise Allah. Now I'm going to come out of chapter 14. And this is what caught my eye when I first came to understand. And it states, when man sees Allah as one with him, his Father, Allah, he needs no middleman, no priest to intercede. And this what makes Islamism different from all the rest of the ways of life. They say, you got to come here, you got to do this, no, you must do this for yourself. This is what Islamism is completely different. It's on you if you do it. You go to Allah, and we get that understanding from within ourselves. And then 23 states, he goes straight up to Allah and says, my Father God, Allah. And then he lays his hand and Allah's own hand on all his world. We know hand is symbolic of the mind. That's when you meet our Father God, Allah, in the mind. And that mindset that you must have to have is that your spirit, you're not the body nor the soul, your spirit. And that is who we are. We are that. We are spirit. And once you come to the understanding that you're not the body, this is our fallen state. This is something that our disobedience comes with. And then in closing, I will say this. It says 24. And this is a lie. You are each one a priest. So you're a priest unto yourself, just for yourself. And sacrifice of blood, Allah does not want. You don't have to go out there and do all these things, kill other things, and make sacrifices. Your good works are your sacrifices. And you burn them on the altar of your heart. And where you burn on the altar of your heart, your good works. The good works that you do for others. And that's what Allah wants. And the good works draw you closer to your Father God Allah. And that is what it's about, your good works, not your good words, your good works. And that's what it is. And that separates Islamism from the rest of the ways of life because it shows and that light is on. And people can see that light because it's within you and it's always been there. It's just that we're never conscious that our fallen or disobedient state. Islam?
Islam Oman, and gratitude for that grand measure, and honors for the work that you do for your people and your nation. We're gonna go back to Deputy Counsel Freeman now, let him finish up, and then we're gonna go to Student Minister El Yael. Islam.
Islamism, grand man, gratitude, pardon, self, Morse kin. So on the left side of that T square, I am Terrell Freeman L. Praise and honor is already given. On the left side of that T square, I was leaving off at mistaken for everything but a child of Allah. 3/5 of a real being. All these slave labels and brands, Negro, black, colored, African American. I know some of us feeling some endearment to them, but it's falsehood. It's like Santa Claus. You gotta let it go. Those are things for things. That's not better than that. Single mothers, again, another abomination that is not real, that is not natural, is nothing that we need to be proud of. That should be something they should be ashamed of. How dare they? On the other side of this, we have from our holy instructions from our prophet, we have from the teachings of all of these divine ministers and citizens of Moorish America and our Moorish American government, knowledge of who made you, and teachings and all love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, so that one can embody that answer and unfold into it in your time. And that time is all the time, whenever you're ready, because the great God of the universe made you, made me too. You know, we have something in common. We should keep going with that. These mystery gods, religions, organizations, mystery religions, mystery organizations, mysteries of Christian Freemasonic demonstrations are too plentiful to name all of them. And we have on the other side, again, the truth, the revelation from the seventh angel of Revelations. Again, and that encompasses a whole lot. That encompasses a lot, including our vast estate, which again goes beyond the physical. We got that covered. But when you really unlock this and you really open up and unlock that spiritual nature that is inside you, oh man, you'll see what Allah is. You'll feel what you'll know Allah. And that is what, again, we all deserve. This is what it's all about. As my Moorish kin, Counsel General of Illinois would say, this is what it's about. And again, on the other side, we got falsehoods, truth over here, divine truth, involving that knowledge of self that we were just going into. You got statistics on that other side, these controlled statistics in a controlled reality of social engineering that we don't control, not us in our fullness, not us in our full knowledge of self. And that is how you unlock the powers of that more science, our old science. And then on the other side, we got prophecy and the fulfillment of prophecy. And the Moorish American government is that, as was stated by my divine ministers and Moorish kin here. And you will, if you stay tuned, you will hear it again there and everywhere you see a Moorish American of the Moorish American government. And we're wrapping this up with just a couple of ayats here. We're wrapping this up with a couple of ayats here. Falsehoods. Oh yeah. Yeah, but those falsehoods, I wanted to say those falsehoods, the falsehoods about our salvation, the falsehoods about our God, and the falsehoods of anything that is real unity. And on the Moorish American government, you hear it in our divine constitution. We begin the whole matter remembering that this is for our salvation, our God, and our unity. That's what it takes to be a part, to be that covenant of the Asiatic nations. And so lastly, I just wanted to read an ayat from the holy instructions from the prophet, the breath of heaven. Vaunt not the body because it was formed, nor of thy brain, because therein thy soul resided. Is not the master of the house more honorable than its walls? So always remember that. And that's the power of knowledge of self, knowledge of who you are, knowledge of who made you, and the understanding of what you will never, ever get in the United States government. Peace and love, Morskin, and gratitude for allowing me to share.
Islam, oh man, gratitude for that message, and honors and gratitude for the work that you do for your nation and your people. Islam, student minister El Yael.
Islam.
Islam.
Honors and praise previously given, but I love Allah and the Prophet. I love us. Honors to all of us. Coming out of her. If I ask most of us,
you muted, Mo.
Thank you. If I ask most of us, what is today's date? We would say Sunday, June 27, 2021. But then when I came out of her, today's date is the 6th day of cycle 2. I apologize, that's letting me know I have the phone call coming up. It's the 6th day of cycle 2 in the year 135 after Prophet Noble Drew Ali. The psychology that they have us under and everything that we operate with, we operate from their understanding with the major parts of the world that we can let go of. We don't have to do anything that is ran that anymore. I am a Moorish American. I have constitutions and bylaws, a flag, a seal, an emblem. I have a Grand National sheet. I have an assistant Grand National sheet. I have a Grand National chairman. I have a whole government at my back based on the love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice principles that we live by. I am the thought of Allah, seeking to be as my prophet when I work with my people and the things that I'm doing. I have rights to North, Central, South America, and all the islands around it. I didn't know this yesterday. I mean, yesterday I knew, but I didn't know that yesterday, 2098. I didn't have that information. I am my ancestors. I am an alchemist, an architect, an artist, a diplomat. I am a god. I am over 2,860 years old. 7 days equal 1 year. What we have to understand, the way we talk and the way we present ourselves, if we begin to, we do look at it different. Now we have to state it differently. For us to stand out there and tell somebody I'm over 2,860, they need a lesson now because they're blown or they think I done came from the past or something like that. So in the comment section, I shared the United States Census because it's the race part where it gives you the description of the races. Now, a lot of NBC people say, we're the original kings and queens. We're the people of the Bible. Well, I'm going to ask you again, are you black? Then according to the United States and the federal government, this is the definition of black. And under your black and African American, you are not a part of the original people. So either you crazy and lying in your statement right here, your jurisdiction and status you put yourself in, or there need to be some very big questions going on. But you know what? You could just come over here to your government. And for all the old-timey talk, they still use laws from the old time when they beat our ancestors and we were Moors then. Let's just bring back our ancestors and let's be them in this new day and time as a pure and clean nation without any of all the other stuff that my ancestors might have went wrong with. And let's come out of this nation, this corporation. Islam, Islamism, gratitude for allowing me to speak.
Islam student minister, grand measure. You know, always on point with your demonstrations. You know, and you used to love me, Mo. You used to call me sometime, but you don't love me no more. So, but if you do, give me a call sometime. All right. Islam, Mo, man. Floor's open, Mo. We got room for one more. Got room for one more, Mo, before we bring our guest host back on for some closing words. Going once, going twice. All right, Islam. So at this time, we're gonna bring our guest host back and see if they have any closing words. Dr. Muhammad Bey and Dr. Lowry Bey. Islam.
Islam. Dr. Leroy Lowry Bey, praise now are you giving? Well, all I have to say is, Prophet let us know that organization is not a government, and the government can own many of organizations, but no organization can own a government. So come on into your Moorish American government, and we'll build from there. It's the only salvation. Government is the order of the day. Right? I need a one free national name. It's Moorish America. Islam, Islam, Islam. Peace and love.
Islam to you, Dr. Lowry Bey. And this Mo man is a master historian, and he don't read it from a book. It's in his head. He keeps it in his mind. Islam.
Islam, grand man. Islam, and I wanna give honors to all my Moorish kin, you know, and our officials that came forth and participated. And I want to give honors to our audience, our listening audience. We hope that you have gotten some information that will unlock some of the indoctrination information that was passed on through generations, 400 generations, people, of a thinking process that is foreign to our natural selves. So that's basically all I really want to say. And of course, for those who really know, the coming out of her, my people, comes from the book of Revelation. When it says Babylon, Mystery Babylon the Great has fallen, and Mystery Babylon is the United States of America. The domination of the European nations, a woman dressed in scarlet and purple. Huh? Oh man, that's so revealing. So it says, come out of her, because now this place has become a habitation, right, of every foul bird and hated thing. And we see that, you know, everything that the great God tells us to do, they say you don't have to do. Everything that the great God tells us that you don't supposed to do, they tell you you can do. They make what God has made lawful unlawful, and what God has made unlawful lawful. It's time to come out of her, my people. If you do not come out of her, then the scripture says, right, you're going to be a part of that divine punishment and wrath that is right now upon this nation. It starts right here upon the great harlot, the United States Incorporated. Islam, 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 Islam. That's all that I have to say. Gratitude to the Baltimore Consulate for creating this format, and peace and love to all my Moorish kin, he, there, and everywhere. Islam.
Islam, oh man. I just want to say grand class, and just give high honors to you, Dr. Muhammad Bey, and all of your consulate staff for the work that y'all are doing. You know, y'all are coming together like a fine watch, working all the parts working together to you know, come out with a finished product, and y'all are doing a grand job. You know, you had some technical difficulties, and your Grand Secretary of State was able to step in, read what you had to read, you worked it out. See, this is what true swift angels do. Being a swift angel don't mean that everything always is perfect, but you make it run smooth. You know, so just give y'all honors for the work that y'all are doing. And this class was a grand class, you know. And just give honor to the Moors that have participated today. You know, long live Moorish America. Islam, Moorish leaders' historical message to America. In conclusion, I urge you to remember there is work enough for all to do in helping to build a better world. The problems of life are largely social and economic. In a profound sense, they are moral and spiritual. Have lofty conceptions of your duties to your country and fellow man in general, and especially those with whom you deal. This includes such honesty and righteousness as will cause you to put yourself in the other fellow's place. Look for the best that is in you. Have a deeper appreciation for womanhood. Brighten the hopes of our youth in order that their courage be increased to dare and do wondrous things. Adhere at all times to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I am your affectionate leader. I shall continue to labor day and night, both in public and private, for your good, thereby contributing to the welfare of our country and its people as a whole. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Islam, January 15th, 1929, a warning from the prophet to be read at every meeting. I hereby inform all citizens that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at your opinions. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We offer love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any citizen or group of citizens who hold malicious feelings towards the government or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing the turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the government is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the government. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. By order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Islam.
Islam and Tashan Khadija Bay already risen, a holy covenant of the Asiatic nations. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother has given you stuff. Let the bonds of affection, therefore, unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relations that bind you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortune of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all, and your love to each other. Islam.
Islam, Moors, grand class.
Great class,
Grand
Praise Allah,
class,
praise
Moors.
Allah, praise Allah.
Grand class.
class.
Grand class.
Grand class, grand class, grand class.
Praise
Honors to
Allah.
South Carolina Council, honors to the
Islam.
Maryland Council. Islam.
Islam.
And class.
Honors to all consulates in Moorish America.
I concur. Islam is
Islam. All of them.
Islam.
Islam.
We're having so many delays. Everybody should run a safety thing on their computer, because that person who ran that little thing in on us, they could have dropped some kind of bugs. I know the last few weeks, my thing's been going slow, and so I had to clean it the last 2 days in order to run right. And that's probably why I was getting knocked off the internet, and then everybody seemed to be bugging. So you just probably security searching your computer.
Praise Allah, Mo.
Praise
Gratitude
Allah.
for that message.
Islam.
Peace and love.
See y'all in Sunday school.
Make sure y'all checking on Sunday school, Moors.
Oh, you already know.
Islam.
Islam.
Islam, March America.